Hey you guys, Sarah Picaro here. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the things that narcissists say. We all know that they say a lot of things, and majority of the things that they say are a big fat lie. We know that they say things that they think we want to hear. They're saying things to gaslight you, to use you, to abuse you, to confuse and manipulate you. Every word that comes out of their mouth is like a weapon, and they use their words like weapons. And they do that because you are a source of supply for them. They're continuously using you, no matter what you think, whether you think that they're improving and they're getting better, or whether their words are silent and they're stonewalling you and they're completely gone rogue. You have no idea where they are. They're using the silence as their words to get through to you. But you'll notice that the relationship feels like it's on a roller coaster because it is. It's got its highs, it's got its lows, it's got its good times and bad times. And the good times are when they're treating you normal. But you are very aware of those good times and very conscious of them, knowing that they're not going to last forever. So even the good times are bad times because you're constantly in a state of waiting for the other shoe to drop. This is all, of course, once you get out of that first phase, that love bombing phase. So, what does this do to you? Have you ever really stopped and considered what it does to you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, how all of that mental and emotional abuse impacts you physically, financially? Have you found yourselves trying to get help to make the relationship work out, regardless of how long you've been in the relationship? It's an in and out, it's an up and down, it's a high and low, and it feels like you are riding on a roller coaster because you're riding on an emotional roller coaster, a mental roller coaster. You're riding on the just waves that they feel like crashing over you. And they use their words to continuously pull you back into the relationship. So when the relationship ends, when you've had it, when you're done, when you've said last time was the last time, and you really truly want to believe it, you're also using words that you don't believe. Perhaps you are the one who's sick and tired of the treatment, the manipulation, the lies, and the abuse, and you're using untrue words as well. You're saying, that's it. I'm done. This is over. I've had enough. I can't go on like this anymore. And you too feel and find that you're no better than the narcissist because you're also lying, because you get hoovered and you get sucked back in. Today's video is going to be about the phrases that the narcissists use to hoover you back in, to suck you back in, to reel and pull you back in. So let's go over those top 5 phrases and words. And I want you to leave in the comments below this video, what are other phrases that the narcissist has used to try to pull you back in and try to get back into your life. So the top 5 things that the narcissist will say to get you back. We'll go through them really quickly, and then we'll dive into each one of them even further. So the top thing that they will say is, I've realized that you're right, and I'm ready to change. Let's go to counseling. Let's go to therapy. And that's all you've ever begged for them to do. Let's go get help. Please, I'll go with you. We can figure this out together. We can work it out. Let's go to counseling. Let's go to therapy. So that's the top thing that they'll say to you when they're trying to pull you back into the relationship to stay so they can continue the lies, the manipulation, and the abuse and using you. They'll tell you they've had this epiphany and they've heard you. They agree with you. They need help. They need work, and they're willing and they're ready to go to therapy and go to counseling. The next thing they'll ask you is, okay, I totally understand that it's over, but come on, after all we've been through, can't we just be friends? I mean, really, you're going to throw all of that away? So they'll use that to keep you. They'll ask you if you can just be friends because you know so much about them. They've never opened up to anyone else the way that they've opened up to you, and they trust you. So they just want to be friends. Next, they'll tell you that you were the only one that they've ever loved. Like, yes, they've had people in their past, and yes, you probably know too much about that because they've told you that in order to make you jealous and to make you envious and to allow you to get to this place where you're comparing yourself with those other people in order to make those other people they've been with feel that they were better than you in some way. But even through all that, and even despite all that, you're the only one they've ever loved. They didn't love those other people that they were with. They want you to feel that you're the only one that they've ever loved, so that you feel that you have a very special place in their heart and in their life. And they recognize and honor that. They will say that to get you to come back, to pull you back in. They'll also use phrases like, I will do whatever it takes to make it up to you. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm really sorry for hurting you. And a lot of times they'll bring tears into that. They will cultivate and manufacture tears as they're using these phrases to try and lure and pull you back into the relationship. Again, all in the name of continued lies, manipulation, and abuse. So they'll say, I'm sorry for hurting you. I truly will do whatever it takes to make it up to you. The ex-narcissist in my life, there was more than one, but the most recent one told me, because he traveled a lot. And when he would travel, he would go on drinking binges, alcohol binges, and he would not return home when he said he was going to. Thus, an argument was created so that I would tell him to leave. We're done. I can't deal with this anymore. Get away. Then he'd have an excuse to go continue to do it more. But then in this epiphany, he would say, I'll do whatever it takes to make it up to you. I will quit my job. I'll leave my job. Therefore, I don't have to travel anymore. I'll just go work for the post office so I can work a 9-to-5 job and be home with you every single day. Is that what you want? And then, of course, you're thinking, no, I just want you to treat me with some respect and some decency. But that's something that they'll tell you to try and pull you back in. I understand I hurt you, and I'm extremely sorry for hurting you. I'll do whatever it takes to make it up to you. But they'll never follow that up with action. It's always just words. The next thing they'll say is, you know what, when all else fails, they will say, I knew you weren't right for me. I knew that you were not the one for me. I thought that you were the only one I ever loved, but I knew you weren't right for me. And when they say that, what they're doing, what's actually happening in between the lies and the manipulation, because they don't care whether you were right or wrong for them. They just cared if they could use and abuse you. But when they say, I knew you weren't right for me, it triggers something deep within you. It triggers and opens up all of those deep, darkly rooted emotional wounds and traumas that you have, not only from that relationship, but from the past, from your upbringing, all of those things that led you to being and staying in that type of relationship in the first place. All of your inner fears of rejection and all of your past abandonment wounds, rejection wounds, self-betrayal wounds, all those things that you truly believe that you were not enough. And I'm talking, that's from childhood. When they say, I knew you weren't right for me, it's like all of those wounds get open, and they know that. They know that they're cutting you deeply, that the knife is already in, and they're pushing it in even further when they're saying, I knew you weren't right for me, because they're saying you fall short of all of their expectations. And because you fell short of all of my expectations, you were going to fall short of everyone else's expectations, because you're not going to be right for them either, because I was the best that you could ever get. And by them saying, I knew you weren't right for me, is obviously a deep form of rejection and betrayal. And that only not hurts in that conversation, but that hurts because it triggers and connects with those deep inner emotional wounds that you have, that you had. And it just opens up the floodgates of pain, the floodgates of emotional pain, the floodgates of emotional chaos and inner turmoil. It gets you to a state where you begin just thinking back on every conversation that you ever had with them, all of the times that you had really, really, really put forth your best effort and tried your best to please them, to satisfy them, all of the things that you did to go out of your way to make sure everything was perfect for them, that you were having a good time so that you could be right for them and they right for you. And so when they say that, your mind goes on a tailspin, on a whirlwind of a journey, trying to figure out where you went wrong in all of it, where it all went wrong, how the relationship got to this point, and your part in it. And they know that. They are master manipulators. They are masters at getting into your mind and having you get into your mind and second guess yourself and doubt yourself and feel that you're unworthy and you truly do believe that you're unworthy, that's where the true transformation comes through, when you've heard these phrases. And more than likely, you've heard them multiple times, because you don't just leave a narcissist one time, you leave them about a million times before you finally truly do leave. And going no contact is not the answer, because sometimes you can't. If you have to counterparent with this person, you can't just go no contact. So if that's not the answer, what is? How do you truly thrive, and how do you truly transform, and how do you truly heal, especially when you still have to have contact with this person, or if this person is still trying to come into your life and is using these top phrases to try and get you back into their life so they can continue to use, abuse, and manipulate you. And know that you're not the only one they're saying these things to. They're saying these things to everyone in their harem, everyone in their circle, because you're not the only one that they're using and abusing. They're using this to everyone, because narcissists cannot be alone, because they have the same inner fears. They have the same inner wounds, the wounds of abandonment, the wounds of rejection, the wounds of betrayal that are unhealed. But the difference is they're unwilling to look at them. So when they say they're going to go to counseling and go to therapy, they're not saying that they're going to go with you because they actually believe that there's anything about them that needs fixing, that needs healing, or needs changing. They're going truly to hurt and damage you so that you can sit in front of that third party therapist or counselor, and they can sit there and play the victim role and paint you as the bad guy and say, see what I have to put up with, see what they do to me, see what I have to hear on a daily basis. It's no wonder we're here. And it's no wonder we're constantly arguing. It's no wonder we found ourselves in this place. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is all my fault. You no, you had a part in this too. But they're unwilling to take a look at the part they had in it, because they are the victim in their own story. And you are going to remain the victim in your own story as well if you do not change and reprogram the unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself because of that type of emotional abuse and damage. If you truly continue living the life believing that you're unworthy, believing that you're never going to get anything better. And I'm not just talking about sticking a post-it note and a little mantra that says, I am worthy. No, that is not going to work, because your eyes are going to read that and your mind is going to say, yeah, if that were true, look at what you attracted, right? And you're going to think and believe all of the things that the narcissist said to you. Because when you have an experience, a relationship with them, they do internal damage. They do damage to the unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself. If they once were good, if you once were a happy, successful, confident person, more than likely now you feel like you're a shell of yourself and a shell of a person and a human, and you question your existence, you question your worthiness, you question if you're truly being genuine. And so you just fake it if you feel like you're not, because it doesn't feel good to live in that state. So just getting out, just going no contact, just reading a book about narcissism, or watching a video about this, about the top phrases that they'll use to hoover you back and get you back, is not enough. Is it helpful? Absolutely. Does it help to understand how they are, not just with you, but with everyone? Yes, because then A, you feel like you're not alone, and B, you know you're not going crazy. Do support groups help? To a point, but that's not true healing. That's not true transformation, because most likely in those arenas, just like in the arena with the narcissist and the counselor and the therapist, you still feel the weight and feel the impact of the emotion that you have been carrying, the emotional trauma and baggage that you have been carrying from the experience of being with them and being emotionally connected with them. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, specifically a partnership, not so much being raised by parents. I mean, even with parents as well, you have this soul connection to them. So they have programmed your unconscious mind to believe that you're never going to measure up to anyone's standards. And because of that, you will live a life that is consistently and constantly falling short of all expectations. And you continuously question yourself, everything you do. That's why it feels so difficult to even make a simple decision after you've been with a narcissist. Even something small and simple like where you want to go to dinner with your friends to celebrate your freedom from them. You have no idea. And more than likely, your answer is I don't know, and you find that you're over apologizing and you're apologizing for even existing because you feel that you shouldn't. So it's not just education about narcissism and education about the phrases they'll use to try to hoover you back. True healing, true breakthrough, true transformation after living a life with the narcissist, regardless of whether they use these phrases to try and get you back or not, is about reprogramming your unconscious mind, truly connecting to the core and the deeply rooted beliefs that you now have about yourself, having been with them, whether you were raised by them or whether you chose to have them as a partner for any length of time. So if that's the journey that you're ready for, and you're sick and tired of watching videos like this, ones that myself and others create, I get it, because they're only helpful to a certain point. And then you get to this place where you feel like you're stuck and you still feel that you may go back because you haven't yet completely and truly transformed from the inside out. You haven't taken that next step, that next level in your journey to healing. And that next step has to come from within. It has to come from the inside out. Otherwise, you might find that you venture and veer back on that path towards very toxic, manipulative, and abusive relationships. And I don't want that for you. And I imagine that you don't want that for you as well, especially if you're here watching videos like this. So if you're ready to take that next step in your journey to true transformation and healing after having been with a narcissist, regardless of whether they've used these phrases on you 0 times or 1,000,000 times, I'd love to invite you to use the links in the description below this video to connect even further. All right, guys, that is it for today. And remember to leave the comments in the comments. What other phrases has your ex-narcissist or narcissistic parents used to try and pull you back in after you've said enough is enough?